Hello there, I'm Mary Case, and this is our Christmas ornament workshop in a box from the Ludington Area Center for the Arts. And so I'm going to show you what to do. If you unpack your box, you're going to have some slabs of clay in there and also a board to work on. You've also got a needle tool, and the rest is just a lot of imagination. Now, you really want your clay to be very flexible, so if it starts to dry out, you're going to use a little bit of water. You don't want it to get too soft. Use your water and just add a little bit of moisture to your clay. Also, this will help you smooth out your slabs so that you can eliminate that texture that's on your clay from when we rolled it out at the studio. So make sure you kind of work the water into your clay. You don't want your clay to be too sloppy. Now, here's some examples of some Christmas ornaments that I made, and I just made them out of slabs, just like what you're going to do. So I'm going to show you how to do this process. And of course, the first step is designing the Christmas ornament, and then you will send it back to the shop and we will glaze it. I'm sorry, we won't glaze it. We will fire it and then you will glaze it. We will send it back to you and you'll have some glazes and you'll make them nice and beautiful and shiny. Okay, so let's begin. Now, you can draw this freehand or you can use a cookie cutter. Maybe you've got some Christmas cookie cutters in the house, or you can print a piece of paper out that has some pictures and maybe you found online. And if you do that, you lay the paper on the slab, and then with this needle tool, you will poke holes through the paper following the line of what you want to cut out. Okay, this tool is for cutting. So we're going to draw first what we want. I'm going to do some freehand drawing, but please don't feel like you have to do that. You can use a cookie cutter if you like, but if you use a cookie cutter, don't push the cookie cutter into the clay, because it's going to be really hard to get the clay out of the cookie cutter because clay is very sticky. But just set the cookie cutter on the clay so that and push on it gently so that it leaves a mark that you can then cut and trace with this needle tool. Okay, so I'm going to do, let's see. I'll show you how I did the stocking. That'll help. And then I'll also do a Christmas tree, okay? So with the stocking, I sketched the shape of a stocking, okay? And then I add the critter that I want in it. So in this case, it's going to be, we'll do a cat. Okay, now this ornament's a little larger than this one. So make sure that you get an understanding of how big you want your ornaments to be. The clay will shrink about 15%. So this ornament is probably about 3 inches high. Okay, and then this one over here is probably a good 4 to 4.5 inches high. And then after I sketch my piece, this is where I'm going to put the hole. That's the little thing on the stocking. And now I've got this little cat's face here, and I always like to have a paw kind of hanging over. Okay, so now you're going to cut out the contour of your ornament. You're just going to follow the line that you drew. You can make as many or as few ornaments as you like, and if you have extra clay and you need another slab, just get out a rolling pin and you can roll another slab. Okay, so here's our little guy, and I'm going to use the back side of a paintbrush, but a pencil works too. This is really nice to add some lines that are thicker, and I'm going to give him some little eyes. One thing you need to do is be very careful that you don't poke through your ornament. I mean, it isn't going to matter if you do, so you have holes in your ornament, but I've had people do that with pottery, and that's not a good idea. With the water here, I can add things to my little ornament. So like I'm going to add a little nose to my cat here, and I'm going to dip that clay right into the water because I really want it to stick well, okay? And if you don't get it wet, and push on it gently, it'll come off. So I'm going to do some ears. And then maybe you want to add some texture to the cat's fur. Okay. And then make sure that you put a hole in your ornament so you have a way to hang it. So I'm going to cut out this little piece right here. I'm actually going to maybe use the end of this paintbrush or a pencil or something and just don't make it too tiny now, because it will shrink a little bit and you want to be able to have a place to hang that. Okay, so you might want to spend a little bit of time then smoothing the edges of your ornament, because we don't want them to be sharp, and when we fire them in the kiln they tend to come out kind of sharp. So you want to work it so that it is nice and smooth. Okay, now this round one that I did, what I did with this one is I just did a circle. Okay, and circles are fun because you can do like scenery inside your circle. Now I'm just going to freehand this circle, but please feel free to trace something that's a circle, maybe that a cup, a mason jar lid is good. Okay, so once you've got your circle, this one's a little tinier, so maybe I'll just make this my 2020 ornament. And by doing that, let's see, I'm going to do a nice 2020, although I'm kind of wondering if anybody really wants a 2020 ornament, but I'm just going to be very optimistic that everybody wants one. They'll be talking about it in a few years. We're going to all get through this together. There's a nice little holly that I've drawn. And then I'm going to put a couple little holly berries on it. So I'll dip my berries in the water, and then I can stick them right on there. And that'll give it a little bit of dimension. And this one will be fun to glaze. So, whoop, you can clean up those edges, make them nice and smooth. There's another little holly berry. So you're going to use the little scraps of clay that are on the outside of your ornaments after you cut them out, so that you can add, dimension to your little ornaments. All right, there's my holly berries. And then, of course, we're going to need a hole at the top to hang it. Now make sure you put your name on the backs of these, and they need to dry flat, okay? Leave them on the board. Do not put them in a room that's really warm. Maybe even cover them lightly with plastic. You want them to dry very slowly on the board, and the reason we do that is because they warp if we don't let them dry slowly on the board. And by slowly, that means in a room that's not really hot. Put them in the coolest room in your house, or lay, like I said, a piece of plastic over it lightly, and just let them dry slowly. And then once they get where they're really starting to dry, then it's fine. Now, this little snowman, he's pretty cool. I actually carved into the scarf, and then I put some little holes in there so that he could have some buttons. Let's see what else I can show you. We got a little clay left here, so let's do a Christmas tree. Okay, so I'll use the side that's smooth. I'll like that better. You might have a cookie cutter that's the shape of a Christmas tree, so that might be what you want to use. I'm going to just cut this because I'm very brave. You may want to draw yours first or trace it before you cut, okay? So there's my Christmas tree. And then after I get that cut out, then I'm going to want to do a little bit of decorating, okay? So I'm going to put the hole right where the star is. And as I do that, I always like to make sure it's nice and smooth on both sides. I don't want it to be, crinkly. And then I can do the rest of the decorations. I'm going to do a little bit of tinsel on my tree. I guess that would be garland. I'm going to add some texture to my trunk. And I think I might even put some ornaments on my tree. So to do the ornaments, I'm going to roll these little balls of clay, and then I'm just going to make sure that they stick. And the best way to make them stick is to make sure that the surface of your clay is a little damp so that those balls of clay will stick. Get the balls of clay wet. My fingers are good and slimy now. So the clay is definitely good and wet, and give them a little push. And if you like the little balls, that's cool. Sometimes I like to, whoop, see, it didn't stick. Okay, never mind. Don't do what I do. Just do as I say. We're not going to do that. We're just going to push it back on there. I wanted to do something fancy, but there's no fancy today. Okay, so as you can see, you can add things to your ornaments to give them nice dimension. And there's a hotline on the form that's in your box. It's my cell phone. And if you need help drawing or sketching ornaments, you call me. We'll meet, okay? Also, if you have any questions, anything at all, just give me a quick call. And there's also a timeline on there that says when these have to be back at the shop, because then we're going to fire them in our kiln over here. And once they're fired, then we will send them back to you in the box. Well, you'll come pick them up, and you'll have all kinds of really cool glazes, and that'll be a separate video to tell you about glazing. So thank you, and happy holidays.